What a time to be alive, where you can both make a documentary about one of your favorite bands and fight fascism at the same time.
I made a video recently about Hollywood actors need to shut up to save Hollywood, and since then, they've been proving my point.
Weird.
The Berlin Film Festival is currently underway, and you will not find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. And I don't even mean the actors. I mean the journalists. Because while we have this bird spouting off...
I mean, this festival in particular is known for not shying away from political films, from films that have a real social angle.
There's a huge variety of really important voices that talk about politics, all on one side. Well, at least with comments like that, we know she's a biological one. But there are some sane commentary from people like Michelle Yeoh, Rupert Grint, Tracy Letts, Kevin James, and Neil Patrick Harris, who even got insulted by a journalist for not taking a stance, getting called embarrassing.
I really like the film, it made me tear up, but it's embarrassing to say it's not political.
I would have ejected them out of the film festival. Who do you think you are? We also had the Nightborn director, Hannah Burlcolm.
I think we have a responsibility to speak up, because not speaking up is also a choice.
I tell you what, she is a little Confucius. Whether you speak up or don't speak up, that's a choice. This is someone whose opinion I'm supposed to take on board about the running of a nation. I tell you what, love, you say something, I'll ignore it. That's the best choice.
And especially it's important that we don't tell other fellow artists that they shouldn't speak up.
Well, I'm here to tell the other artists that they should shut up, because I think that's important. And there is actually a growing trend of this. There's a number of sane, far more intelligent people than this bint who have learned a friend-enemy distinction and realised their enemy is sitting right in front of them in the journalist section of the audience. This entire film festival, they've just been set up after set up after set up, and if they outsmart the sea of SSRIs in front of them, the journalists actually attack them and insult them. I didn't think they'd have the gall, but then again, they're medicated up to their eyeballs. Anything's possible. It's even got noticed by the press now. Politics takes centre stage as social media backlash looms. It's worth noting the backlash isn't aimed at the smart ones who are clever enough to keep their mouths shut. These journalists want to destroy your career, and you should speak to them as such. It starts with Michelle Yeoh, who has been in the industry for a long time. Probably not surprising, she's more savvy than your average Californian. Was quick to fend off questions on US politics after she received a golden bear. Having chosen the bear over the man, she was like, I don't have to listen to you anymore. Today, I sit here with a golden bear, not just because of one movie, but perseverance, resilience, and the stubbornness to say, I won't go away. I'm not sure anyone's ever asked you to. I mean, considering you are trying to do the martial arts role, maybe they're like, getting a bit unreasonable now, love. But apart from that, I don't think I'm in the position to really talk about the political situation in the US. I don't understand it. So it's best that I don't talk about something at all. Reasonable, understandable. Quite frankly, should never have been asked about it in the first place. It's a bit like asking me.
I'm clinically an asshole. Nothing I can do.
Sure, I can have opinions about it, but it's not really my place to tell people what to do with their own country, he says while talking about Hollywood. Look, you try and sell me a product, I can commentate on the product. Now, she did go on to talk about cinema, and then a European journalist, and she knew she should be doubly worried, stood up and said, "You're living proof that minorities have success in Hollywood." Like, have you seen a movie recently? You're living proof that the rampant discrimination in Hollywood is a success. Has she noticed any change in the diversity policies? It continues to be a struggle. Issues like that don't go away overnight. That's true. If only we can get rid of the DEI policies, we might actually get back to some quality programming. But all this proved that the journalists are the enemies. She was asked one question, dodged that, immediately got hit with another one, which she fell into, because she's essentially going, I should have more work. So the self-interest overrode it. Oh, I have nothing to gain from this virtue signal, but I do from this one. But after this, we got the best tweet of the year, second best. The first one was about the Olympics and how they've run out of supplies because they were banging too much over there, which I'm all for because they'll make superhumans. But the second best tweet of the year is this. Rupert Grint on the rise of fascism. Well, obviously I'm against it. I'm just glad I could sleep safely in my bed at night knowing that Ron isn't for bringing back Hugo Boss uniforms.
Have you looked at our caps recently? They've got skulls on them. Are we the baddies?
Everything about this tweet's up. It's just a perfectly blue background, a really smug face. It's like, well, obviously, I'm against it. And they're trying to pitch this because actually he gave the right response. This was a joke. But they're still trying to claim it in the tweet as if, oh yeah, he's on our side. He should have followed it up by, yeah, I guess all the lefty stuff. It's only made better with this one, actually. I don't know what this pose is. But I want him to be in a superhero movie just making this pose. This guy and this pose would make an amazing superhero parody. He's just like Man. He goes around stopping crime with the strength of one man. Seeing in a well-lit room is no problem for him with his 2 eyes, and he can stop crime in an instant by just calling the police. I, a man. But obviously his comments were about J.K. Rowling and the state of England.
Considered commenting about the rise of fascism in Great Britain.
Now, for any Americans, don't think of that in your terms, which admittedly is probably the terms it was asked in. But from a local perspective, I don't know who she means. I don't know whether she means the current one or some mythical unknown force she's invented in her own head. She was gulping down her SSRIs like Smarties, watching V for Vendetta, and got the wrong idea.
That's currently happening.
It's currently happening. I live here. The only one that makes sense is the one I'm pretty sure she's not talking about.
Well, obviously against it.
I don't think he knows. I've come across a lunatic here, but I can't call her a deranged barren gal. I can't be like, have you been on the Scooby Snacks again, love? Security, can you check her purse?
But no, I mean,
He has no idea what to respond. Don't blame him. And then you can tell who he's been watching. You can tell the thing that came into his head. Well, 2 things. They say men think about this every 3 seconds. That explains why on the 3rd second he suddenly says,
choose my moments when to speak.
Yep, he's trying the Sydney Sweeney defense.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Choose my moments when to speak.
Is that, well, it worked for her. It'll probably work for me. Now, she's got a couple of advantages over you, mate. But still, I salute you for going, I don't have an answer and I don't care. Personally, I would have liked this spun back on the journalist. What do you mean, you insane cow? Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's obviously hugely relevant now.
I mean, it is, but I still don't think you're defining it the same way I would.
Yeah, I think you'll hear from me.
Is that why I'm here? And I mean, I know Berlin in Germany, but I didn't expect to come over here, talk about a film, and the journalist's like, have you thought about the Germans?
Are these Germans too? Don't mention the war.
Are you considered the rise of the 1940s again in the UK? Not really, to be honest, no. I don't think it crossed his mind. He's one of the few surviving gingers in Hollywood. Leave him alone. And this Berlin Film Festival, it's still going on. This is from today. Tracy Letts fields a question, talking about his character in Rosebush Pruning. What are they going to ask him about? The macroeconomic impact of bombing foreigners? It's amazing that collecting this many journalists in one spot didn't cause a black hole. Not just because they're all so very dense, but because their minds are so empty, they would collect together and create an infinite vacuum that would just start sucking in matter from all around it. It's no wonder that last guy couldn't think of anything. Those people's IQs are in minus numbers. Everyone walks onto that stage and their IQ drops. Just gets sucked out into the audience by osmosis. Now, apparently, his movie is a biting satire about the absurdity of the traditional patriarchal family. So basically, they hate moral people. Good families, moral families that raise intelligent, smart children that can think of themselves and aren't rabid lunatics. This is a satire about those people. They're trying to humiliate their betters. It never works. First question he was asked. A journalist decided to address the elephant in the room. I imagine there was more than a few. Judging by the questions these journalists are asking, I'm pretty sure I can tell you their BMI. I don't even need to see a picture. This is the kind of place where all the seats are 6 feet apart. And not because they were scared of people coughing on each other. Can you address the elephant in the room? It's very early for that question. I'm not going to comment on it. I'm sorry, I'm the next James Bond. I don't know why you didn't make a tweet about that one. That's way better than what you put in.
Would you like to comment on that? And if not...
You're right, it's very early for that question.
I'm sorry, I'm the next James Bond.
The actors are saving each other from the weird mutants in front of them. This is like a zombie horde. An Indian author, Arundhati Roy, Arundhati Roy, the god of small things. I was not expecting that. At least he won't disappoint too many women at the festival, because he pulled out of the fest entirely. Nothing of importance was lost. In response to comments made by Wenders that art should not be political. And he's like, well, I'm taking my tiny little manhood and leaving.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
But Letts said, I can't speak for other artists. I don't feel comfortable taking away from the work they've done. It's awkward to discuss. And our movie talks about disparity in wealth in the first place. Say all the incredibly rich people. We're gonna complain about disparity of wealth, but do absolutely nothing to lower us to your level. I will take your money. I'll take all of it from you. I don't care. I'm a generous, heroic fellow. I will shoulder the burden of your wealth so that you can be happy and poor without having to worry about any of it. That's a price I'm willing to pay for you. Just let me know. Send me a check. That's the thing about this festival. We're all artists coming together to work on a thing together. What you're talking about, taking place in one's country, doesn't necessarily impact each of us as we gather together. Exactly. It's why if earlier I started describing what was going on in my country, it wouldn't make a good video. It's meant to be an entertainment video, and my problems aren't relevant to you. So why on earth are you even talking about it? You all came here to talk about a movie. And it's like, well, what do you think about the state of Birmingham?
I'll just get your hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres, which must be obeyed at all times.
We live in a time where censorship, yes, from which side, dear, and judgments about what we're doing are really, really dangerous. We're not just doing something for the audiences, but we need initiatives, like in Germany.
Will you stop talking about the war? Me? You started it?
Where cinema would not exist if it weren't for public funding. Again, if you notice, it's like, no, I'm not going to virtue signal over this thing because there's no advantage for me. But I will talk about this because this gives me money. Please give me more money. I'll virtue signal over myself getting more money. There is a trend here. I don't think these people are being silent out of some sort of principle or because it's to protect the honor of their art. I think it's because they've realized there's now no personal benefit in virtue signaling over this, and that's why they always pivot to something where there is. They used to just talk about this and that would get them all the points, whereas now it's harming them, it's harming their careers, it's harming the audience going to their movies. So the more intelligent actors have already learned to shut up, but they'll still get their own edge in. Then we had Kevin James, who just came out and said there are exports that know more than I do. I'm focused on what I can do, delivering a fun, heartfelt break from the craziness of the world. You really can't argue with it, it's just common sense. I'm an entertainer, I'm here to entertain. Me whining at you about the stuff I care about or I have issues with, that's not entertaining, it's not fun. Nobody goes to work from 9 to 5 to come back and hear a celebrity whine about something, especially people who are so far out of normal monetary realms that even if you're on the same side, you know they can't even perceive what it's like to live like you. And this spate of people being silent actually got noticed by the New York Post that more Hollywood stars are choosing silence over political commentary in a heated climate. It's becoming a trend, an ever-growing trend. Before, it was a couple of people. This has happened before. We had Brie Larson, who was making comments that would destroy the film industry, to suddenly going, ooh, I can't talk about Marvel or what I really love in the universe, because I can't answer that without it becoming a problem for me. She realised that talking about things wouldn't get her any personal gain, and so she shut up. Hers actually peaked at Cannes, when she was asked about Johnny Depp, and rather than answering the obvious setup bait question, she said,
Curious how you feel about Johnny Depp's film opening the festival.
You're asking me that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the correlation. Well, you'll see, I guess, if I'll see it, and I don't know how I'll feel about it if I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We had Mads Mikkelsen, who shut down a reporter at one of these events, who also was saying, how come this movie about Europe lacks diversity? I mean, I grew up in America and everywhere I go, it's just all over the place. I don't understand. I can't even comprehend living in a nation which actually has a people. This is someone who, not for a single second in his life, has ever considered, how is culture created? Where does it come from? If a culture comes from a people, how do all those people create the same thing? Is it actually more than a social thing? Is this culture actually coming from the genetic traits of a specific people who have bred over hundreds or thousands of years to have a specific temperament? Instead, he Uno reversed it again.
Danish production, which is entirely Nordic, therefore has some lack of diversity. New rules are implied in Hollywood.
What are you on to?
This really is the best tactic because the journalists are trying to set you up. And they're trying to set you up because they know you're in a no-win situation. You can't answer it without coming across as incredibly based.
As I see it, you don't live up to these standards with this broadcast, and there is...
that everyone knows Hollywood despise, or you can join them in evil. So the real answer is to flick it back on the journalist and make them pull off the mask and show everyone who they really are.
Can't compete in that competition. Are you worried about that?
Are you? You're putting us on the spot, so
Yeah,
you
sure.
answer the
Yeah, no,
question.
Which they will be loath to do, by the way. They won't answer.
What do you think?
People thinking that Parasite was a great movie coming from South Korea. This was actually still eligible for the competition. You, as a Danish movie with an all-Nordic cast, is not.
Because if they do, they likely won't get a job in the future either. But they were essentially the front runners, the early learners. Brie Larson was one of the first people to actually kick off properly to be replaced by Rachel Zegler.
People that we
awakening
need
of-
to educate, love into awareness.
Love them in the right direction.
And so it makes sense that once she's been faced with the audience, feels their wrath, she'll learn it's not worth it faster than anyone else. But also, other actors in Hollywood saw the responses. They faced these journalists before, and they also now seem to be learning from other people's experience. After Disney lost $170 million on Snow White, just because of Rachel Zegler's comments to horrific journalists, the more intelligent Hollywood people are beginning to evolve. That hasn't grasped that on, though, is Kate Mulgrew. She decided to do this off her own back. No journalists involved. Just attack the audience for no reason whatsoever. She told a fan, on the contrary, sending you and every other disrespectful troglodyte who insults my fellow captain and Starfleet officer to the brig where you belong. Keep Janeway's good name out of it. Dismissed. This is all because they didn't like Holly Hunter as a new captain in Starfleet Academy. Turns out nobody liked Holly Hunter in Starfleet Academy. That's why they're not watching it. Didn't even get on the top 10 Nielsen charts in the original section. Now, of course, whenever there's an attack on Hollywood's power, they have to try and work out how to pivot to try and shame the people to get them back on side. You can't just say no to them because they're a crowd-based organism. They get their morality, they get their virtue points from being a horde. So if the horde starts to splinter off, well, that loses power. Now no one needs to agree with you anymore because you have no power, as it only comes from having everyone agree with you and no one being allowed to say no. But also, there's very little point for you to even believe it, because if no one's on your side, who are you getting virtue off? Most people, their morality is internal based. You do good things because you think it's good. For them, it's the other way around. They want to be seen to do good things by other people, which is why they don't really care about doing good things. They may not even do good things. They just have to display to others that, no, I would be doing good things. It's all of the social reward without doing the deed. So they have to keep people on side, otherwise if there's no horde, there's no one to signal to. So they think that simply being silent and refusing to answer something about a topic, well, that means you picked a side. And they're not wrong. No, I'm not saying that Kevin James has chosen some side in America, but by staying silent, he has. Because only one side will allow you to be neutral. The only people that don't care if you are neutral. So if you do want to have a neutral perspective on an issue, then you are going to have to support one side. As the other side will humiliate you, they'll get you fired, they'll censor you, they'll crush you. They don't like, because if you're not part of the team, you're an enemy to them, and they are zero tolerance to people they see as their enemies. We also saw this tactic with Neil Patrick Harris, who I'm surprised the journalist didn't get a mouthful. I imagine it's only because it's public, done in a room full of journalists, and being recorded, that everyone is like, look, it's just not worth the effort to tell this stupid bint what I think of them.
Wondering if you guys consider your art political. If so, how can movies these days help fight the rise of fascism in Europe and America?
So right off the bat, you know this guy is an insane lunatic who needs immediate medical attention. Because while there are definitely cases where that's happening, he isn't talking about any of them. They're not the ones he even means.
How can movies these days help?
And what does he think a movie's going to do? The proof that it doesn't actually exist is that a coward like that dares speak against it. You know what that form of leader doesn't allow? Movies which mouth off at them. You'd lose your hands.
Yeah, I think sometimes the most rebellious thing you can do is be optimistic, and we wanted to make a film about joy.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's on about. We'll ignore him. He's listened to too much James Gunn.
Neil, do you want to jump in on the politics of joy?
The politics of joy? Oh, Hollywood will not improve until it gets rid of the people that would say sentences like that. He doesn't look too happy to comment, does he?
We live in a strangely algorithmic and divided world right now, so I'm always interested in doing things that are apolitical.
Which makes sense. There's lots of people on all sides. You want to make something that can appeal to all of them. Widest possible market, lots of money. It's a business strategy. It's not my favourite one, but it's a one. And it's definitely a sensible, good response when you don't want to piss off the audience and are answering a question from filth. And he continues, we're all humans wanting to connect, to experience things together. Like, well, that's fine. No one could get offended by that. He didn't even say anything mean to anybody. Of course, being a sensible, well-rounded, normal human being, that doesn't stop the harpies coming for you.
Hi, I'm Mary from the German Public Broadcasting.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm a propagandist.
I just want to go back,
I just want to go back and cause trouble for you because I saw a weakness there and my ovaries are killing me to engage in reputational destruction.
I really like the film. It made me tear up, but it's embarrassing to say it's not political.
Who's he going to be embarrassed by? You. He's on stage talking about a movie. You're going to go back to your 7 cats and cry. You are not the same.
Without proper health insurance, I wouldn't be here. I had cancer myself, then I wouldn't be here and couldn't do the job.
I'm a victim. I've been a victim. Look at me. I was such a victim. Look, I know there was a thing over there, but let me tell you, this is actually about me. All of this is about me. Worship me? Moisturize me.
Moisturize me. Moisturize me.
I'm sorry, dear, but we're here to talk about the movie, not your medical treatment. This is some weird nutter that thinks it's political because she saw a doctor once. I'm sorry, but nations of every stripe across the world have doctors. No matter which side of the aisle you think, no matter what kind of leadership position you have, doctors exist.
So the film is political, and this festival must be political.
What an insufferable cow. Oh, it's got to be political, because this event is actually about me, and I am, so it has to be. Look, love, I know working for your indoctrination centre probably convinces you of all of this. But drop your high and mighty, haughty tone, as if you've got a political acumen greater than that of a Cosmopolitan article. Then after, she immediately moves on.
But my question for Essie Heim...
I'm sorry I've made this about me and now I'm at the centre of attention. I think we can move on. Now I've bashed in my glory. No, I have said that I am better than you and you are embarrassing. She would have absolutely deserved it in the silence the moment her gob stopped smacking together. If all there was a single voice at the back just went, piss off, love. And then, after all that, they still wouldn't leave him alone.
To Neil, do you dare to criticize your government? And do you think that the democracy in the US is in danger?
That is the face of a man who is absolutely done with your shit. He shouldn't have to defend himself against this kind of thing. He shouldn't have to dodge it. You should be able to treat journalists with the respect they deserve. If actors were on the bottom rung for Romans, then journalists definitely deserve to be beneath them.
Wow. I mean, I really am here mostly
maybe it's
in
not
honor
completely
of
relevant
Sunny
to the film.
Dancer.
Yeah.
I mean,
and yet he tried his best.
While I have my own political opinions, which are my own, I think as a performer, especially in this kind of movie, we're trying to be as inclusive as possible to as many people as possible. So
he gave another good, neutral answer.
I never read this script as a political statement. It was much more about a human growing up.
Basically says you're reading too much into it. But my point is, you shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have to be subjected to people with an axe to grind that they're holding against your neck. Now, as all this is done at the Berlin Film Festival and people start taking notice, they see a trend, start attacking the actors to try to keep them on side, and start making articles about this growing trend, the media itself gets worried and acts as if they've been doing absolutely nothing wrong. Oh, I didn't know what was happening. None of this was my intention. As press conference remarks are clipped and amplified online, some filmmakers worry that speaking freely could invite instant backlash. What did you think the point of the questions was? It was so the journalists could make you say something so that they can go and get the clicks. Being amplified and sent out to people is the point. And if you're complaining that actually what you're saying about your political takes on the stage, like this one...
What a time to be alive, where you can both make a documentary about one of your favorite bands and fight fascism at the same time.
If you're worried that people find out what you actually believe and then your audience hates it and it destroys your entire movie, isn't that the point? Isn't that what you wanted to tell the man? That you had something you wanted to stand up for and you wanted everyone to know? It's not their fault if you're saying something horrific, is it? It started with actors being worried about consequences. Comes to something when the Hollywood Reporter is describing a film festival as having politics threaten to overwhelm the festival itself. It's too much even for them. In press conference after press conference, Talent has found itself fielding questions about random places in the world. The flashpoint came when Wim Wenders was asked a question designed to see whether the festival was being muzzled. Wenders replied, "We have to stay out of politics. If we make movies that are decidedly political, we enter the field of politics. But otherwise, we are the counterweight to politics," which is the point of entertainment. You can have entertainment which crosses over both. But it's always there to make you laugh. It's there to poke fun. It's there to show the weird flaws, the stupid things which are said, the gaps in the armour that just prove they're all idiots. In that case, the point isn't actually even the topic itself. It's just revealing a truth about a situation that takes itself too seriously, which is prime grounds for comedy. To hear that they say art should not be political is jaw-dropping, Roy wrote. It's a way of shutting down a conversation about a crime against humanity as it unfolds. It will always make me laugh how Roy thinks he matters. I don't know who you are, Roy, but I want you to be shut up and silenced. I don't want to hear what you have to say, and I don't want a conversation with you. I want you to shut up. But Wenders was hardly alone in trying to deflect political crossfire. She certainly wasn't. I covered this earlier, but this is a new tweet where it's like it was Rupert Grint's turn to talk politics. Like it was something they all had to go through. It was like a hazing ritual, which you go on stage, obviously all the journalists are going to be evil to you. It was just his turn to suffer the impotent rage of the snakes in front of him. But then it really kicked off when the Berlin Film Festival itself had to issue a statement because the journalists couldn't keep their mouths shut. Despite all the drama, despite everything else, despite the social media reactions, they had to be told to be silent from the festival themselves. Artists should not be expected to comment on broader debates about a festival's previous or current practices, over which they have no control. Nor should they be expected to speak on every political issue raised to them unless they want to. People have called for free speech at the event. Free speech is happening. But increasingly, filmmakers are expected to answer any question put to them. They don't realise that free speech is the freedom to speak, which doesn't mean I have to listen to you or obey you. In fact, if I look down on you from the stage, and because the journalists are beneath me, then you're not even required to take their question, answer them, or treat them with anything other than disdain. People have got far too comfortable with the idea that they have a right to do something. No, you are entitled to nothing.
You are entitled to nothing.
The people on stage will answer you if they respect you enough to give you an answer. The ones dodging the questions are the ones doing the right thing for the film industry. They are criticised if they do not answer. They are criticised if they answer, and we do not like what they say. They are criticised if they cannot compress complex thoughts into a brief soundbite when a microphone is placed in front of them when they thought they were speaking about a different topic. That is a great paragraph. In a media environment dominated by crisis, there is less oxygen left for serious conversation about films and culture at all, unless it is folded into a news agenda. Which is exactly what they're doing. There's always the virtue signalling trollops in the audience. I'm saving the world by asking this question. No, it's a topic you're interested in, but you really wanted to be taken seriously in journalism, and instead, when you failed at that, you ended up talking about film and culture. There are many people like that. The game industry is exactly the same. They hate games. They really wanted to talk about war and flopped. We know why you're doing it, but actually, everyone else wants to talk about the movies. But of course, yes, we released the statement. And, well, that went down like a lead balloon. Why are we sidelining politics? It's causing a stir. If an artist is afraid to speak up about the far left, they shouldn't be coming. It's quite based, actually, when you understand what they're talking about. Which they certainly don't, but, you know, these are journalists, what do you expect? When does it become the responsibility of an artist attending a festival to speak out? Never. They're there to speak about a movie, love. If you don't like it, the exit's over there. Go calm yourself down, lock yourself in the car, scream for a bit. Fashion is the enemy of artistic freedom, following pointed attacks at Bad Bunny. Oh my God, you people are insufferable. Oh, I think I dropped an IQ point just reading that. Trying to comprehend these people is painful. Jung said, nobody is expecting a TED Talk, but at least expect one question and have an answer. If an artist is afraid to speak up, then they shouldn't be coming, because these are different times. This is about good and evil, and as the German...
You'll like this one. There's this woman, she's completely stupid, and her husband's in a bomber over Berlin.
We know what we're talking about. You can't be on the sideline when it comes to this, yes. You must be based. Everyone should be on that stage giving the most based answers they physically can. We can never, ever have socialism take over again. Oh... I agree, Young, I agree. Art is about empathy. Oh my God. The narcissistic person that can only comprehend the world by putting themselves into their place, for some reason thinks that's a virtue. So I'm going to put as much effort into pronouncing your name as you did into this thought. But at the same time, they wonder, why are studios ghosting film festivals? I mean, they used to come to us. They'd come over. We'd have major releases. We'd put them in front of our journalists, and those journalists would set them up with bait questions to humiliate them, harm their career, to piss off the fans and destroy their movies. Why aren't they showing them here anymore? I simply don't understand. They should turn up so I can be a horrific person to them. It's sheer entitlement that you should be able to act like an absolute prick to as many people as possible, and they shouldn't have a say in it. These are the same people that use this as a description of free speech. You can scream in your room all you want. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to invite you into my house. And they don't have to spend millions of dollars to get their film to your festival and all their actors, just for you to attack them for taking moral stances on issues by not taking your side. Now, of course, this article can't comprehend that. They're still of the opinion that they matter. But if I need to remind you of this bird's comment...
I mean, this festival in particular is known for not shying away from political films, from films that have a real social angle.
Why wouldn't major studios want that? They go to your festival, piss off most of America, and then piss off even more of the world. As the further you move away from California, the less people believe that crap, and the easier it is for them to tell you about it, as foreign people don't care about your cultural taboos, and exporting your ideology by movies is far more difficult to do when it goes into foreign languages, because they don't have the same cultural pressure points as your country, and as a lot of their tactics involve word games, most of the time that doesn't actually translate into foreign languages at all. And if you want proof that these film festivals have no power, well, Marty Supreme, co-financier, said that his company is dedicating greater investment to new media forms on other platforms. Looking at the research, we estimate in a few years 25% of media and entertainment will come from new types of media, distributed on services like YouTube. It might not just be the content itself, but IP brands that could be expanding to live experiences where people are paying more for your content. I don't know about that on YouTube. I think this misunderstands those new platforms, actually. So I'm not supporting what he said here as a business model, but the data itself on the growing impact of new platforms compared to traditional forms of entertainment. Film festivals that were never particularly important in the first place have ever less importance over time. And yet they say, I think this is less about Berlin and more film festivals in general. The biggest film of the year didn't launch at festivals, and they're nervous because it's a difficult marketplace. They're nervous about reviews coming out long before the film and not being able to control the way those films are launched. You don't know how a festival audience and festival critics will react. If they trash the movie, your campaign can be over before it started. To which I would say, no one gives a crap about film critic reviews at festivals. No one. I make videos about them because they're funny. They do not impact anyone's viewing choices, though. But they say, look at Joker 2. They think Joker 2 died because of the critics' reviews, not because it's the most hateful video I've ever seen in my entire life, and the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't even mean badly put together. I mean the very essence, the core, the soul of that movie is horrific. You watch that movie knowing it hates you, and it wants you to feel bad. It's disgusting. That is one movie I would call art, because I think they have essentially distilled down the essence of scum. And then they go on to say, well, Joker appeared at Venice and that got $1 billion, so that was obviously the film festival that caused it. And there was Beetlejuice. The critics loved that, and that went on to earn a lot. How about Starfleet Academy? Critics love that. It died. Why? Because it's terrible. These things live and die on the quality of the product and the word of mouth of the audience. But of course, like I say, this is simply a virtue signal to convince people they're still important. You should still have me as a job. Of course I should still be a critic for The Hollywood Reporter. Keep sending me early access movies. It's always self-interest. That article isn't meant for me. That article is meant for those major studios. You should come back. Critics make you money. They lied. If major studios are getting nervous about festival launches, it likely has to do with the changing nature of marketing campaigns, okay? Are you going to talk about those same critical journalists which you're also asking them questions? Timothy Chalamet made social media videos, not red carpet sound bites. The festival seem to acknowledge this, as they have sponsorship deals with TikTok. Oh, way to miss the point. But I'm not surprised they don't, because the kind of person that will be writing this article is the same kind of person that will be in the audience asking them the horrific questions. We need these festivals to get our films noticed. We need to sell them these films. Without them, these movies disappear. That's got to be awful, hasn't it, for the sales agent? You go to a festival because you need it. You need the marketing. You need the word of mouth. This is where people might pay for your movie. And then you have to sit through the panels with all the people in front of you holding like scythes and pitchforks. Their little red tails flicking back and forth behind them. Their forked tongues that they refuse to keep between their teeth. And you have to sit in front of that hive of scum and villainy and listen to their questions. Answer them politely as they ask for the worst things in the world. Try and set you up. Destroy your career. Kill your movie. And at the back of your mind, you know that none of these people matter. You know it's the audience that matters. And if you give them what they want, then you alienate the audience. Are you willing to satisfy the devil in front of you at the cost of the very movie you're trying to sell? I can appreciate the challenge in that scenario. But I think if there's one thing we've learned in recent times, is that actually, there's no such thing as bad press is only true in one direction. And that is if you piss off Hollywood and appeal to the audience. Because that only works if you say no to a group of people who are despised and makes you well known by the other group who disagree with them. This is why in gaming, standing up to some evil harpy actually gets you millions of sales. And it might be a lesson for Hollywood, who these film festivals are simply full of those exact same harpies. And maybe it's time these festivals started changing and filtering who they invited in the first place. Maybe it's time you did start bringing up some censoring and blacklisting of your own. Because if you've got a journalist in the audience who's just trying to destroy an actor in front of them because by getting them to attack the audience, you should be asking yourself, why are they allowed to be there in the first place? If film festivals are about advertising movies, why are you even allowing these kind of questions which have nothing to do with movies? But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.